One day, a billionaire invited young entrepreneurs into his office. There was only one chair, and it was empty. A group of young, ambitious entrepreneurs stepped into the office. It was the space of a man who had built empires. They saw vast windows overlooking the city. They saw shelves lined with books from floor to ceiling. They saw awards that gleamed in the afternoon light. But their eyes all landed on one peculiar thing. In the corner of this magnificent room, next to a grand oak desk, sat a single, simple, empty chair. Close up on the chair as curiosity fills the air. It wasn't ornate. It wasn't a piece of art. It was just a chair, with no one in it. It seemed out of place, yet intentionally positioned. It held a silent presence that was louder than any of the accolades on the wall. The air was filled with their unspoken curiosity. One of the entrepreneurs, a bold young woman, finally broke the silence.
If you don't mind me asking, we were all wondering about that chair.
The billionaire, a man with kind eyes and a gentle smile, turned his gaze toward it. He didn't seem surprised by the question. He let the question hang in the air for a moment, allowing its weight to settle. The simple inquiry about a piece of furniture felt like it held a much deeper significance. It was clear this was not just about interior design, it was about a philosophy. The billionaire walked slowly toward the chair, his hand resting on its back. "This," he said, his voice calm and steady, "is the most important seat in this entire building." The entrepreneurs exchanged puzzled glances. He continued, "Every day I come into this office and I look at this chair. It reminds me of something vital. It reminds me of the person I have yet to become. It holds a space for the knowledge I do not yet possess." The room was quiet again, but this time it was a silence of understanding beginning to dawn. He explained that the chair represented his future self. It was a physical reminder that his journey was not over. It was a symbol of humility in a world that often celebrated ego. For him, success wasn't a destination he had arrived at. It was a continuous path of learning and evolving. The chair was his silent mentor. It was his daily invitation to grow. It challenged him to ask, "What do I need to learn today to be worthy of sitting here tomorrow?" The billionaire elaborated on his unique practice. "This chair," he explained, "represents the voice of the person I am striving to become. It is the voice of my future self, who is wiser, more compassionate, and more knowledgeable than I am today." He explained that it's easy to get lost in the noise of past achievements. It's easy to let awards and praise define you. But this chair doesn't care about what he did yesterday. It only cares about what he is learning for tomorrow. It keeps him grounded. It keeps him hungry. It reminds him that his greatest work is still ahead of him, not behind him. He shared a story from his early days. A small success made him feel like he knew everything. He stopped listening to his mentors. He stopped reading books with the same curiosity. He thought he had found the formula. Soon after, his business started to struggle. He had closed his mind to new ideas, and the world moved on without him. That failure was a painful but necessary lesson. It taught him that the moment you believe you have arrived is the moment you begin to fall behind. That experience is what inspired the empty chair. The chair serves as a powerful anchor to humility. Every morning, he sits and visualizes the person who will one day occupy that seat. The greatest danger to your success is not failure. It's the illusion that you have made it. He gestured around his impressive office. All of this can disappear if you believe you have nothing left to learn. A full mind has no room for new ideas. A full cup cannot be filled. When we think we know it all, we build walls around our minds. We stop listening. We stop being curious. We stop seeing the world with the fresh eyes of a beginner. We become prisoners of our own past accomplishments. He likened this state to a stagnant pond. When water stops flowing, it becomes murky and lifeless. The same is true for our minds. Without a constant flow of new information, new perspectives, new challenges, our thinking becomes stale. Success can be a comfortable blanket, but it can also be a heavy one. It can smother the very flame of curiosity. The world is always changing. Markets shift. Technologies evolve. What worked yesterday is not guaranteed to work tomorrow. A closed mind is the most dangerous liability in a changing world. It encourages a mindset of healthy doubt. It encourages you to question your own assumptions. It invites you to seek out people who know more than you do. True confidence is not about knowing all the answers. It is about being secure enough to admit that you don't, and being brave enough to go find them. Thinking you've made it is the beginning of your decline. It is a quiet surrender. It's an unconscious decision to stop growing. The most successful people the billionaire knew were also the most insatiable learners. They were perpetually curious. They read voraciously. They asked endless questions. They surrounded themselves with people who challenged them. They were humble enough to know that their current knowledge was just one drop in an infinite ocean. They always kept an empty chair in their minds, ready to welcome the next lesson. The billionaire smiled, seeing the understanding in the young entrepreneur's eyes. He decided to distill his philosophy into 3 simple, actionable lessons. "If you remember anything from today," he said, holding up 3 fingers, "let it be these 3 things. They are the foundation of everything I have built. First," he stated clearly, "stay a student, always." He emphasized that titles and accomplishments are temporary. CEO, founder, billionaire, these are just labels. At your core, you must remain a student. A student is open. A student is humble. A student is eager to listen. When you see yourself as a student, you don't feel threatened by new information. You welcome it. Second, he continued, never stop the act of learning. Read books on subjects you know nothing about. Take a course, learn a new skill, travel to a new place, talk to people with different life experiences. Fill your days with deliberate acts of learning. Just as you schedule meetings and appointments, you must schedule time for your own growth. Learning is not a passive activity. It is an active, daily pursuit. It is the engine of your evolution. And third, he concluded, keep space in your mind for new knowledge. This is the principle of the empty chair. You must consciously protect your mental space from becoming cluttered with arrogance and old certainties. Leave room for doubt. Leave room for wonder. Leave room for the possibility that you might be wrong. When you reserve this space, you create a vacuum that pulls new ideas toward you. It's a mental emptiness that is full of potential. It ensures that when the next great lesson arrives, it has a place to land. It's about being ready to receive. As the meeting drew to a close, the young entrepreneurs looked at the simple, empty chair with newfound reverence. It was no longer a piece of furniture. It was a profound symbol. It was a challenge. It was an invitation. He had shared a way of being. He had revealed that the foundation of his empire was not built on what he knew, but on his awareness of what he didn't. He walked them to the door, shaking each of their hands warmly. His final words were not about profits or market share. They were about something far more valuable. He encouraged them to find their own empty chair. The form didn't matter. What mattered was the intention behind it, the commitment to remain open, humble, and ready to learn. Your next breakthrough won't come from what you know, but from what you're still willing to learn.